Dear friends, I am Sakyamuni from US. Today I would like to talk to you about the concept called reservation versus representation. How historically the word representation has been replaced or removed, and the word reservation has been popularized. So I would like to talk about what is the difference between the reservation and representation. See, reservation is some kind of allocation that you are different from us, and you are deprived, you are oppressed, and you are not capable of competing with us. So out of courtesy, out of sympathy and empathy, because of your vulnerable position, we are allocating some seats for you. So this is what reservation. This is what have been popularized, and even the scheduled caste people, our people, majority of our people, some of like us, we don't accept that. Majority of us accepted that. Yes, we are deprived. That's why our forefathers fought and got this all these benefits for us. So this is what historically misinterpreted history has been now spreaded across, and we are also accepting it, and that's what we are continuously calling ourselves Dalit, oppressed and suppressed. So we are deprived, we are vulnerable, we are not capable of doing anything. Without reservation we can't even survive all these things, and most of the time we have to justify. If somebody comes and mockery over us, that hey, you stupid, you are fools, you are not capable of competing with us, or something like that, they when they mockery over us, and we feel very guilty about it, and we immediately want to react for that, and we started justifying our position. Oh, it is 2000 years or 5000 year, 10,000 year old oppression and suppression, all these things. That is what we are today enjoying the reservation. It is a compensation for us. Even in the US, this is what continuously imposed on the black community, and they continuously say that you are a slave for 400 years, and whatever the benefits today you are getting, it is for the compensation. The whites get to social security, they don't feel guilty about it. They say that, oh, I am a citizen of this country. When I am disabled, I am getting social security compensation. They are happy about it. When the same compensation is given to the African American or black people, they have to come, they have to justify that. Oh my god, 400 years suppression, and that's why we are getting this compensation, all these things. So they continuously make these people feel guilty about whatever the rights they are enjoying. The same thing is given to India also. The reservation is interpreted in such a way that makes us to feel inferior, and also that makes us to feel guilty when we are enjoying the reservation. So now let us go back to the history and say that what is this word called representation, how the representation politics came into India, and how it has been replaced. If you don't understand the representation politics, proportionate representation for all communities in India, if you don't understand historically that, and you will be continuously calling yourself oppressed and suppressed and Dalit and all nonsense. You will not revolt. You will not come out and say that I am nothing to do with all this oppression and suppression, anything, and I am equal to you. We will not say that. We continuously put ourselves low and say that, oh my God, we have been suppressed for 2,000 years, 5,000 years, and we need all these things. No. Let us go back to the history and see how the representation politics came. So British came here, and British started establishing government, education system, and everything. They started doing it along with the Indian. I won't say that they did on their own, and Indian did not contribute anything. Especially scheduled caste contributed much more than any other Indians. This is the history. It was scheduled caste people who started democratizing the Indian system. So it was the scheduled caste people who first joined with the British as a military, not as a servant, equally. So that is like we have to dig another history of the scheduled caste, then we will understand that. That is another story. Some other time I can talk to you. But still, this is what the Indian and the British jointly trying to build a nation, build a new system in India. When they were doing this system, and what happens is the British people started using their racial attitude, and they started discriminating Indians. So this is the historical fact. Nobody can deny that. So the British, according to the British or according to the whites, they try to claim that. So we are capable because we already established such systems in the US. That is what in the UK. So that is what we are introducing all these things. So we are more capable than you. So that's why we are there in all higher positions. So when the British people were there, all higher positions, even the elections, the examinations for the medical examination, medical entrance examination, civil service entrance examination, all these exams were held in the Europe, and they study there, they wrote the exam, and they were appointed in India. So the Indians, including scheduled caste, all Indians, they started demanding that. So it is not that only the British people represent, because it's our country. So the national consciousness started coming in India. It is our country. So we also equally represent. See, we don't deny that. The British also started doing good job in India. So they were introducing democracy, political system, administration, everything. We don't deny that. At the same time, it is not you alone did. We are also joining with us. So we also need to equally represent. So Indian demanded representation. Indians did not demand reservation. Oh, we are oppressed, we are suppressed, and we are beggars, and you give position for us. No, we are Indians. We are the son of the soil. So we need equal representation. So we want to hold all the position, higher position. Even the examination, somebody wants to write examination, they all the way go to the Europe and write exam and get elected and get selected and came here. No, we want even exams should be held in India. So more and more Indian will represent, more and more Indian will join in all higher positions. Similarly, we want representation into the governance, the British Indian governance. So this was the representation demand. So if you go back to the demand, the representation demand, it was like 1700. It's not 1800 or 1900 or 2000. It is 1700. Especially the ruling class among the scheduled caste, they all started demanding reservation. So many of the acts, if you go back to the British Indian acts, many of the acts talks about the representation for the Indian. So this is the story. So what happens after that? All these people started asking for the representation, and they were in the high position. So it is not that they were more capable, they all started getting into the higher position. So we are simple people, we were more interested into harvesting and more interested into the Indian traditional way. It is only few people, especially the so-called, I don't want to call them Brahmins. It's a insult to the rest of the community when you call somebody Brahmin. It's an insult to rest of the community. You call somebody Brahmin, somebody upper caste, and which means I am lower caste, or I am a. It's a very abusive thought process. We all have to. Those who keep calling somebody else as a Brahmin or upper caste should change it, because in your subconscious that you are thinking yourself you are untouchable or lower class or something like that. So I would say that the so-called B community, B community, you use some other meaning for that. So the so-called B community got into all other higher positions, and then the so-called NB community, they started feeling deprivation. Not the scheduled caste community, not the Adi, not the indigenous people of India. They started any feeling because they were not interested in all this business. They were happy with other business. So the NP people, especially like say, even if you say in Maharashtra, the Sahu Maharaja was not deprived. He was a king. And then he introduced a reservation for NB people, not for the scheduled caste. Don't go and say that, oh, Sagu Maharaja introduced a reservation for the scheduled caste. No, he introduced for the NB people. NB people means not B people. So, which may include the scheduled caste. That's what we all claim that, oh, we are all so-called together, all NB people or something like that. But when they introduce for the NB people, now I am coming back to, I don't know how many reservation, how many seats, how many positions were given to scheduled caste people in Maharashtra. But in Tamil Nadu, if you come back, the Justice Party claimed to be the representing the NB people, non-B people. So NB people, when they say that, okay, we are seeking for the representation, not reservation for oppressed or suppressed. We are demanding for the representation for NB people. They got the representation. When they got representation, our people, those days, the great leader, national level leader like Father Tandai, MC Raja and other people, they all joined with the Justice Party, and they said, okay, now we should also demand for representation, and we should also have our own people into the governance and administration and other places. So when they got it, when the actual representation given to that, those days the representation given for the B people, NB people, and the Muslims, and the Christians or Anglo-Indian. This is the four category the government those days, the British government decided. This was the story of 1919. But when the 1919 like allocation started to 1920s and 21st I'm talking about Tamil Nadu, especially the Chennai Madras Presidency, that people from our community, scheduled caste community, Parayars, Pallars, Sakyans and other communities, they were not given adequate representation by the NB people. That is what the so-called Justice Party those days. So they were depriving us. They were not giving a position for us. So then our people started, the scheduled caste people started demanding representation for the scheduled caste. Those days, if you go back, the representation into the higher position, like a member of constitution, member of assembly and other places like MP, MLA, those days MLC, like that. That was not for even the poor people, landless people, uneducated people cannot go and become a member. It's only those days, it is only the rich people. Even among the scheduled caste, rich people, educated people who has got a land or some property, they are capable of contesting election. That was the situation. They were capable of being representation. So it was representation given to the communities like B community, so-called Brahmin, B communities. I would call them Vaishya Brahmin. The B community, and then they gave representation for NB community. We are supposed to be part of it, but they denied us. And Muslim community and the Christian community, Anglo-Indian community. And then when we demanded, they created the fifth category. And then they started giving representation in the 1920s to the scheduled caste also. So this was the representation politics. Not asking, oh, we are deprived, we are oppressed, we are suppressed, it's only the scheduled. This is what today we are believing. No. The representation, the proportionate representation was given to the so-called B community, the reservation given to NB community, the reservation given to the Muslim community, the reservation given to Anglo-Indian community. All these people got the representation. So then scheduled caste also got representation. But the scheduled caste got less representation, reduced amount. Out of 12 seats, scheduled caste got 1 seat, and the so-called B community got 2 seats. So this is again, we have to demand for our rights. According to our population, proportionately the seats should be allocated. So equally everybody should get the representation. This was the politics. So then again in the 20s, again in the 30s, even 1930s, 35 constitution, it was not called reservation, it was called representation. Again in 1940s, it was called representation. Even when Dr. Ambedkar and Tata Ratamali Srinivasan went to round table conference, they were demanding for representation, not for reservation. representation according to our proportionate population size. We should be given representation in all, including allocating the land, allocating water resources, allocating the wealth, health, everywhere according to our population. Suppose India is allocating fund for various department, allocate according to our proportionate. We are not asking anything extra because we are oppressed or suppressed or something like that. We are demanding our rights, our representation based on our population. This is what our population. We are 1/5 of Indian community, and we have all the rights. So don't call us oppressed or suppressed, and we are like a beggars, and you are throwing something on us. No, we are demanding our rights. We are the original inhabitants. This is what our movement. If you go back to 1910 and 1920s and all over India, our people are demanding, we are Adi Hindus, Adi Dravidas, Adi Andhras, Adi Karnatakas. So we are Adi people. We are indigenous people. We are original inhabitants of the people. So we are not saying that, okay, you don't belong to this country. You are Aryan, we are Dravidian. You get out, and we are the son of the soil. We are not saying that. We are son of the soils. We are not talking about you. We are the son of the soils. We are the citizen of this country, and we have equal rights as you have. We are not saying that we are only having the rights, so give us extra. No, this is what our people, foolishly going, and either you say that, oh, we are oppressed or suppressed, or we are the only. No, we have the equal rights. You and me, when you say reservation, it's like we are oppressed and suppressed, so you give something extra to us. When you say representation, you don't give anything extra to us. We are 1/5 of the population. Suppose Indian land, you divide Indian land, and 1/5 of the land should be given to the scheduled caste. You divide the water resources, 1/5 of the water resources should be given to the scheduled caste. You divide all the wealth, 1/5 of the representation is given to us. If you say that like government, politics, everywhere, administration, everywhere, we are not demanding anything extra because we are oppressed or suppressed or vulnerable or weak. No, first you stop. This is psychologically, you are insulting you and insulting us. No. If anybody says we are the scheduled caste people is oppressed or suppressed or Dalit, that person is insulting us. See, example, I am an individual person. I will not go and say any weakness about me. I always give positive things about me. Even somebody beat me, I will not go and public say, hey, this fellow beaten me. No, because I don't want to give up my dignity. But same thing, community. When don't insult the community. Don't go and everywhere show that, oh, my community is oppressed, my community abused, all these things. No. See, we belong to that country. We belong to that particular community. We have all equal rights. This is what only our argument. This is what the argument in the roundtable conference. It was the argument in front of the Simon Commission. So everywhere our people only demanded, we are ancient people, we are Adi people, we are original inhabitants, we are the citizen of this country. We are having equal rights as you have. We are not saying that we are not Indian. You and we are Indians, we are brothers. So as you have the rights, I have the rights. So you cannot take everything and you cannot deny. If you say that we are brothers, we are Indians, we have to have equal rights. Similarly, if you say we are Dravidians, okay, you are also Dravidian, I am also Dravidian, so we should share. We should share our land, we should share our power, we should share everything. That's what sharing. That's what called representation. Allocation according to our population. So this was the demand. So how this has been very nicely removed in 1950 Indian Constitution. We all believe that, oh, suddenly 1950 Indian Constitution came. That's what we are having all reservation and everything. No, actually 1950 independent Indian Constitution denied our rights as a representation and replaced the word. Anglo-Indian, they are still using the word representation. Anglo-Indian continuously having the representation. The word is used. For scheduled caste people, they removed the word representation. They are using reservation, which is against our basic human rights. Suppose you say that I belong to that community, that country. We are 1/5 of the population, so we need to have a representation. This is all. That's all. I don't need to go and beg. I don't need to go feel guilty. Somebody comes and says that, hey, you become rich. Only the reservation is enjoyed by the rich people. You are just showing and oppression and suppression, but every benefits you are enjoying. No. This is very foolishness to show the oppression and suppression and violence and other things to enjoy the reservation. No. We are the scheduled caste people. We have the equal rights and we enjoy the representation, not reservation. We enjoy the representation. Within our community, there are some people rich, some people poor. That is an internal discussion. We have to self-criticism, question everything. I agree with you that we are the rich people, we are the developed people. We should contribute back to our poor, our people. I don't deny. We have to work on that. We have to allocate 10%, 20% our income. We have to do all these things. But when it comes into representation, let us not use the word oppression or suppression. We are the son of the soil. We are the citizen. We are the original inhabitants, and we are 1/5 of the population, and we demand our representation. That is our rights, not begging business. Thank you very much.